my brain is broken, or at least that's what it felt like. So I left my 6-figure engineering job to build a startup that fixes it, which is either the smartest thing I've ever done or the most delusional. And I genuinely don't know which one it is. My villain origin story, and the villain origin story for many people, is corporate America, but not in a hustle culture, this isn't good enough for me, bro, way. More in the way of, I lost someone I deeply cared about, and within a week, my work wanted me to go back to caring about product meetings, and I felt like my entire world was ending. And that's a lucky story, right? I got a week to grieve. A lot of people don't even get that. And then came the frustration. People do this, right? They start businesses, they create these lives for themselves where they mostly only have to answer to themselves. They make money and they don't have to fork over 80% of their waking hours to a conglomerate. Why can't I do that? No, really. Like, why can't I do that? Why don't I feel like I can go and start a business and get to a point where I'm successful? Why do I feel like I can't try something without self-sabotaging or getting scared in between? Why do I feel like there's only one path of success, and if I deviate from that or try something new, it's not going to work out? Why can't I do that? Surely my problem is fixable, right? There are hundreds, thousands of people on social media telling you that this is a mindset issue. I'm in my own way, but you can fix it. Great. How? Or if there is a solution, it's a ChatGPT mashup of just really breathe and try to journal. Okay, fine. I will do those things. If that's all I have to do, believe me, I will do it. I tried self-help books, manifesting, affirmation, yoga, talk therapy, life coaching, rewiring, writing it down, journaling, eating better, exercising, positive thinking. And while these are all helpful to some degree, they weren't working, or at least they weren't working enough. They weren't specific enough for me. My issues felt glossed over or dismissed with a smile and a try harder. Even if that's not what they were actually saying, it does boil down to that. Try harder. Don't get me wrong. Self-help books, podcasts, they are helpful, but it always sounds like it's coming from some voice in the sky entity with authority issues. And it's always some shade of stop giving a f and do the thing already, off and fix yourself. Which isn't helpful. It's not helpful for me. Manifesting and affirmations can be good, but only in conjunction with something else. Everyone always has an opinion on what that something else is. A certain method, you have to write it down on paper, sleep with it under your pillow, that type of thing. I think manifesting and affirmations work because it's your brain. Exercise and positive thinking are genuinely helpful, but for positive thinking at least, there are these loops that I start and then they kind of fall by the wayside. And it's great while the loops are in place, but as soon as I am not actively working at it, they fall away. This always seems to happen every couple of days, and I understand that it's a habit building thing, but it just doesn't seem to click the way that it should. And you're probably thinking, okay, but everyone says their problem is unique. And to that I would say, yes, that is exactly the point I'm trying to make. And that's when I realized that I'm not broken, my brain isn't broken. The problem is that every solution assumes we're the same. I like to call this the nuance gap, which is the gap between what is generally good advice and broadly applies to a large amount of people, but a gap between that helpful advice and what would actually be best for you. Like specifically, what do you need? How do you think? How do you work? And how could you apply this advice so that it's tailored exactly to what would be most beneficial for you? So if you could bridge that gap between good advice and specific needs, personality, goals, etc., how much more powerful could these behavioral changes and methods be? For instance, they could actually work. So naturally, the logical next step was to quit my job and build it myself. Obviously. Okay, but actually, the day after I quit, I sat at my desk and I realized I have no idea what I'm actually doing. Like, none. I do have a master's in computer science. I worked at an EV company and I am a trained engineer, but I've never felt more stupid in my entire life. Never. Because knowing how to build software and knowing how to build your software are two completely and entirely different things. And no one, literally no one, will tell you that. One thing about me is that I love fantasy, I love romantasy. So like any good fantasy heroine, I embarked on a quest. I had my motivation, I had my tragic backstory. I even had the dramatic I'm leaving the kingdom moment. What nobody warned me was that the first trial is Xcode. The final villain of that trial was a Swift error that genuinely seemed like it was written in a different language. But here's the thing about starting, and I do mean actually starting, not just sitting up at 2 a.m. dreaming about doing it. The terror just doesn't go away. It just doesn't. It never goes away. You have to just start building alongside it. You make friends with the demon, essentially. Startups are hard. That's not a warning. That is not a one-liner or a pathetic attempt at gatekeeping. That's just true. And the hard part isn't even so much the code. The hard part is the middle of the night moment where you just don't know what you're doing or where you're going. And you think, who am I to build this? No, like who do I even think I am to do this? Here's what surprised me. The scariest part wasn't quitting. It wasn't learning Swift. It wasn't the money. The scariest part is what I'm doing right now. Scariest part is this. It's telling you. Because the thing about building in public is that you can't hide anymore. Once you say it out loud, once you say, I'm building a startup to fix my own brain and I'm gonna show you the whole thing, you either ship it or you don't. There's no quiet failure. There's no hiding anymore. And now I've said it out loud. So that's great. The app is about 60% built. I'm still scared. I'm terrified, but I'm still going. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to show you the entire process. The building, the breaking, the rabbit holes I fall into along the way. And believe me, there are a lot. The ideas that blow my mind at 2 a.m., the moments where I want to quit, and whatever happens at the end. This is Building Sentience. This is episode 1. I like to end these with a question. What is a belief about yourself that you'd like to change? Not fix, not cure, just change. Tell me in the comments because I'm building something for us and I want to know what us actually looks like. Subscribe for more of these chaotic founder stories, moments, and rabbit holes. I'll see you next time.